Hello everyone and greetings from Iceland. We finally made it here. I hope you can hear me well because it's quite windy here outside and I'm using my cell phone to do this. It's the first time. So yeah, we came in 2 days ago, or basically 2 nights ago, late in the evening. We managed to catch a short weather window from Faroe Islands to Iceland, and it was just a 40-hour passage basically between low pressure systems. And if you've been following the YouTube channel, then you might know that we've had some technical issues lately. So we spent around 2.5 months in the Faroes to fix the boat and to do some modifications to the rudders and the rudder protection frames, and we did all of that stuff during our time in the Faroes. So now that's done, and that's good, but that just took a lot longer than expected. And originally we were kind of planning to do that work here in Iceland, so we were actually planning to spend 3 days in the Faroes, and then we were going off to Iceland, and that's when we had the first engine issues and so on, and that's how we ended up spending so much time in the Faroes. And the passage here was quite, it wasn't too bad. It was a little bit stressful because there was a big low pressure coming in and we had to make it to Iceland before that. So we were like pushing the engines, we were motor sailing, we were like cruising at above our normal speed the whole time. And the waves were really uncomfortable. So Soho is here as well. Hello.
Hello, hello.
How was the passage?
It was awful.
Yeah.
I don't know, I spent maybe like 1 hour without not feeling sick.
Yeah.
And most of the time I was just in bed puking. And Juho did all the things he had to do here, so yeah, it was maybe the worst 2 days of my life, I would say. So
yeah, so we had like very confused waves and swell coming from 2 directions. So even though there wasn't much wind, the waves were like really uncomfortable.
yeah, and normally, because I had the badge, the seasickness badge on me, and normally it works really well. But now for some reason it just never started to work. And I was waiting and nothing happened. And yeah, now I've lost my faith in those ones.
Yeah, so when we left from the Faroes, it was like early in the morning, and we probably should have put the seasickness patches on during the previous night already, but we didn't do that. And then when we left, it was dark and rolly already in the beginning, and I also got a little bit seasick, but I recovered. But so we never recovered, so it was quite bad. Like,
Yeah,
she was still feeling sick like the
night after we got here.
yeah, so when we got here, even several hours after we had already docked, she was still like feeling sick. So
And when we docked here, and there was some local fishermen who were like telling us where should we go and so on, and it was a little bit embarrassing, but because I just went to the dock and started to puke. And yeah, it was just awful. I think I'm never gonna sail again. I'm gonna move here to Chupi Vogur.
yeah. Let's see who's there in the chat. Oh, there's a lot of people from Finland. Hello, Kuti and Ode, and some people from Denmark and so on. Yeah, I thought we could go outside real quick and have a look outside before it gets dark. have a small walk on the dock so you can see what's it like over here. Let's go outside. I hope you can still hear me then, because it's kind of windy here. Oh yeah, Sophie didn't want to come, she's inside. We're gonna go and talk to her later. So we are just chilling out here with the fishing boats. It's low season for fishing as well, because it's just the weather is just too bad like this time of the year, you know. It's winter and the spring fishing doesn't start until, you know, like March. So these people, they still go out fishing, but they only go when the weather is good. And right now you can see that the weather is not good. It's blowing around maybe 15 meters per second there in the fjord, but the harbor is very protected, so we are doing fine here. But we have the fishing boats and us, and that's it. So it feels very much like being at home. It's like the harbors in Norway when you are there. But yeah, it's windy. It's windy here, and you can see snow on the mountains. So hopefully we get to do some skiing soon as well. There's not a lot of snow yet, but there's a little bit. So the real winter season is coming as well. And here you can see on the dock we have 3 big wall fenders that the harbor master decided to donate to us, because when we came in we asked him if he knew a place where we could buy like new fenders, because we knew that we need new fenders for the winter in Iceland, because it can just get so rough here. So he just came and brought us 3 of these big wall fenders, and that's really nice because those are actually quite expensive. If you buy them, they are like I don't know, 60 to 80 euros each, you know, and these are in good condition as well. I'm just gonna go and show the dock real quick, and then I'll go back inside because it's too windy here for the microphone. Even like with this amount of wind, our existing fenders are like really squished, so we definitely need more. I'll go inside because the microphone cannot take the wind. So we are back inside. All right, so we spent a lot of time in the Faroes. We finally made it here, and now at the moment the days are very short in Iceland, or up here at these latitudes already. So it's 4 p.m. right now, and the sun is setting in 20 minutes. And I think the day is, you know, we have around 4 hours of sunlight at the moment, and the days are only getting shorter still. So it's gonna get pretty dark. And yesterday as well, when we came in, you know, we had to do the harbor entrance in the dark. And that's always a little bit annoying if you have to do new harbor entrances in the dark, especially with a bit of a bigger boat. But yeah, it feels like being at home with all the fishing boats here with us. And now we are gonna stay here in Djupivogur for a couple more days, and we're gonna wait for the wind to turn so that we can continue north, and then we'll go to the west fjords for the winter, which is the northwest corner of Iceland. So we are now in the eastern Iceland, and we want to make it to the northwestern corner of Iceland, and we are gonna be doing like short day sails between harbors and anchorages to get to northwestern Iceland. It's a little bit hard to describe the weather here because I spent the last 2 winters in northern Norway, and over there you also get a lot of wind and a lot of bad weather, but over here it's just on another level, I think, because there is no protection from any islands, or there's no archipelago or no inner leads or anything like that to follow. You have to always be out on the open sea, and the low pressures are like really coming in from all the directions. So every time you look at the weather forecast, it's like blowing a lot. So everyone told us that that if we are in the Faroes still in end of September, then we would never make it to Iceland, because then you would just get stuck in Faroes. But we did make it here eventually, so that's nice. James is asking how the improved rudders are working. Yeah, they are working a lot better than the old ones. So we now have a lot better steering, and that's of course really important. And now we can also maneuver the boat with just one engine, which is also quite nice and important if you have 2 engines. And so far we haven't forgotten about filling the diesel day tank, so we haven't run out of fuel anymore. And yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to the rudders. We still have to do a little bit of testing. We haven't really gotten into like really bad weather with the rudders. So if you have like really big waves, then it could still pose a challenge, but we haven't experienced that. The Earl of Porridge is asking if we have AIS. Yes, we have an AIS, and it's usually on. You can normally follow us on marine traffic, but sometimes we don't turn it on. But if it's on, then you can search by the name of the boat, Arctica, and it should turn up. And Kevin is asking about the temperature. Outside it's around 0 degrees Celsius now, during the night at least, and during the day it's maybe like +5 or something. There is snow up on the mountains, as you can see over there. There's plenty of snow there, but here in eastern Iceland there is no snow on the ground yet at sea level, but I know that in northern Iceland and northwestern Iceland, where we are heading, there's plenty of snow at the sea level already. The sea here is, I don't know how warm the seawater is. I think it's like still quite warm, maybe like +7, +8 degrees, but it's definitely getting colder all the time. And there were still some questions about our passage to here. You can check the beginning of the stream where Sohvi explained what happened, but it was a little bit uncomfortable, and we were motor sailing the whole way because we had to be able to do the passage in just 2 days. So we couldn't afford to slow down, so we were like doing 7.5 knots all the time. I think our average was like 7.5, and that also partly made it uncomfortable, because if you're like really pushing the boat and if you're going fast, then the motion is also going to be more uncomfortable in general. And yes, we are wintering here in Iceland. We are gonna be we don't have like a specific harbor that we are gonna be in. We are going to be like moving between harbors and anchorages. But the thing is right now that the weather is so tough that you can't just go into any harbor. You have to pick out a harbor that is protected enough, because the way that the weather is here right now is that, you know, when we see a short weather window to do like a day sail or something, then we can go somewhere with that window, but then the next low pressure is gonna come in, and then you might be stuck in that harbor for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and during that time there could be like low pressures coming in from any direction, so you could have wind from almost any direction. So and the wind here, you know, if it's a real storm, then the wind just gets so bad that you have to be somewhere that's protected from the wind, and especially from the waves. So you can't go into just any harbor. You have to go somewhere where you're like comfortable being stuck for several days, if not like a couple of weeks. There are some questions about the fuel issues. Yeah, we fixed the fuel issues. It's gonna be on the next video. What's happening with the YouTube right now is that when we arrived to Faroes and when we had this fuel problem, then we decided that we are going to do some work on the boat in the Faroes. And originally it was only supposed to take like a week or 2. So I started shooting footage for the video, and then it turned out we ended up spending 2 months instead. And the whole time I was waiting, like, I was waiting for the projects to be finished, because I wanted to release a video which introduces the problems but also the solution. So I wanted to like have the whole process in one video, and I kept waiting, and we just kept on coming up with more issues and kind of like more delays. So that's why the video is so late, but it's already up on now. The boat fixing video is already up on Patreon. It's not public on YouTube yet, because I make it public always on the weekend, so it's gonna be public next weekend on YouTube. Yeah, there are some comments about the fuel and fuel quality. Yes, we have old fuel in the main tanks, but the fuel seems clean though. Like when we pump it through our filters into the day tank, it's completely clean, so there's no problems there. the old fuel that we have in the tanks is some kind of, you know, super fossil fuel without any bio component, so it doesn't really get bad that easily. In general, I think these fuel quality issues are not as big over here in the north than in the south, because generally it tends to be colder, and you don't get stuff growing in the diesel tanks as easy as somewhere south where it's warm and much nicer for algae and so on to grow in the tanks. And the winter, what we expect from the winter is that it's going to get it's obviously going to get colder, and there's going to be a lot of snow. At least we hope that there will be a lot of snow. And someone asked about the sea freezing and so on. The sea doesn't really freeze here, but some of the fjords do freeze and some of the harbors do freeze, but they don't really freeze like thick. You know, it's just gonna be a couple centimeters of ice, because the tail end of the Gulf Stream still affects Iceland as well. So there's like some warm water flowing in, so the seawater usually stays above freezing, so there shouldn't be much freezing going on, and in that regard we should be fine. And even if there's a little bit of ice, now we have the kind of boat that can like just push through the ice. But I do know that sometimes there is enough ice that it can be a problem for fiberglass boats if you want to go into certain harbors during the winter. So it's getting like really windy outside, and the night is coming. And there's some fishermen on their boats right now, but no one is like going out fishing. That's kind of the sign for us as well. If the fishermen are not going out, then we are not going out either. And we still have some learning to do with the weather forecasts here as well, because we had like we didn't realize that it's gonna be so windy actually, right? So
yeah, because in the like normal weathercasts that we follow, it was not like this. But then we learned that we only have to read the Icelandic weather forecasts.
Yeah, so like if you check on windy, and if you use the normal models there, it doesn't really show the reality. So windy, for example, it's currently showing or predicting 15 knots of wind in this fjord or in this area where we are at, and it's actually more around like 30 knots in the fjord over there. So we need to watch out for that a little bit, so that we don't like end up going into bad conditions.
Yeah, and actually for today it was predicting like the Danish one, which was quite correct, or I think it has been quite correct. It was predicting 29 meters per second in gusts.
Meters?
Yeah, in gusts, so
yeah.
It's like almost 60 knots.
Yeah, so it's a little bit hard to say, because we are quite protected from the wind here in the harbor, but if you look out into the fjord, you can see that it's just full of ice, full of white caps in there. Okay, I'm gonna go and have a quick look outside. I'll walk on the dock, and then I think I'll be ending the stream for this time. The next video, it's gonna be out next weekend. Say bye bye to Sohvi.
Bye bye. bye.
Bye bye. So we went to the swimming hall over here, and I'm gonna go over there as well, probably for a swim and to have a proper shower. And there's also a natural hot spring a couple kilometers away where you can walk to, so we're probably gonna do that during the next couple of days. So we have things to do here. Let's go to the dock and look at all the boats here. These two are like very typical fishing boats. These are crewed by three persons, 2 or 3 persons, and that one over there, the Ödlingur, is not from this harbor, so it has like traveling fishermen in it. So the guys are actually usually they sleep on board, and you know, they spend a few weeks on board. And if the weather is not good, then they are just stuck in the boat as well. Yeah, someone is asking about the harbors and whether they are expensive to stay in. Well, I don't really know yet. We've met the harbor master, but he hasn't requested us to pay yet. I know that in some places in Iceland you can stay for free, at least for a while, and you know, some places you pay for the electricity and so on, but usually it's generally not really that expensive, and it really depends on the harbor and how lucky or unlucky you get. But places like this, you see, it's not really geared for leisure boats. So they don't really have like a payment system set up for us, you know. There's no like a card terminal or something where you could pay anyway. Normally there's only fishermen here, and the fishermen pay by invoice or something like that. And they are just not really geared up for leisure boats. So usually they're like, you know, we don't really want to go through the trouble of making you pay. So then quite often you end up staying for free. So there's fishing boats here with us at the pontoon, and then there are fish farm boats here. So these are for the salmon farms that they have out in the fjord, these bigger ones. It's nice and protected here. We are safe and well, and the boat is doing well also. And I'm sorry about the wind noise, but that's just how it is right now. And the dock is creaking as well. So it's not really optimal live streaming conditions right now. So I think I'm gonna end this stream now, and next weekend I'll publish a new video, and then on the weekend after that I'll probably do a short live stream again, and hopefully we'll be somewhere further north by that time. I'll see you all then. Bye bye.